I'm Adara, author of the YA paranormal romance and sci-fi fusion novel Drawing Red, and today I'm addressing a question that I found on Reddit. Why don't fanfiction writers just write original stuff? Now this is a question I am very, very invested in. I write fanfiction. I have for many years. I do it sparingly. I read a ton. Now, what started it for me was I loved the characters, I loved the worlds, and I loved just imagining little snippets of how different characters would react to each other in a scene. And I thought that other fans would enjoy that, so I wrote them down, and my fanfictions are all short stories. Why do a lot of fanfiction writers never write original works? Long story short, self-esteem issues held me back from writing my own stuff for years. I dabbled, but then I get thoughts like, I'm no one. Who am I to write and create an entire world by myself? I couldn't do that. I'm not that talented. That's not for people like me. And I don't think I'm the only person who's written fanfictions, or even reads fanfictions, and thinks, I can't do that. Because with fanfictions, you already have a ready-made audience. And they expect you to make mistakes. They know you're not professional. So it's a lot more forgiving if your writing isn't up to standard, if your plot isn't up to standard. And also you're not asking people for money, so people will be willing to give it more of a try, knowing that you're not trying to get the hard-earned cash from them and you're just trying to entertain. So there's a lot of goodwill involved. Also on the point of money, in terms of writing, if you ask someone for money for what you've written, that has to come with a certain level of confidence that you know your writing is worth paying for. Not a lot of people have that confidence in their own work. It takes a lot to build that up to say, yes, my art is worth something. Yes, I think I should be compensated for that time, and it is good enough as a product for you to give me something in return. Have I read fanfictions of that calibre? Certainly. But, once again, it's goodwill. You know the copyright belongs to someone else, you're there to have a good time, and the audience respects that too, but it does take the pressure off of the writer, knowing that, okay, I'm giving this away for free, so it doesn't have to be perfect. Also, writing fanfiction is a very, very good training ground for learning how to write. If someone is daunted by the idea of writing their own story or their own novels, then fanfictions already give you an entire world built up with lore and a plot potentially, and characters that you can already work with. So you can actually concentrate on your own writing, whether that's how to use prose, how to do show versus tell, how to play with tenses. And it also gives you a very, very good confidence boost. You receive feedback pretty much in real time. You write a chapter, you might typo check it. If you want to go the extra mile and try to work with a beta reader, great. But then you send it out into the world pretty much sometimes chapter by chapter as you're writing. And the comments are instantaneous. So that gives you a lot of gratification that maybe you're doing something right, which is really difficult when you're writing an entire original work, especially if your goal is to then sell it. I know some people do put original works out on fanfiction websites. That's awesome. I do expect something published to be making money to be of a higher standard. But that's just me personally. There might be some fantastic original pieces. I know some Wattpad stories, for example, which have gone on to be published. Good for them. Good for them. I don't think I would have the confidence to do that. I genuinely don't. But after years of writing fanfictions, I'm happy to say that I have now officially published a book. I spent an entire year purely reading write and craft books before I even started to plot a single thing or write a word. I was that scared of not thinking I could do it or I was good enough. So, why don't fanfiction writers write original works? They do. I still dabble in writing fanfictions. I know of other authors who still write fanfictions. So, the next time you read a fanfiction, don't assume that they don't have original works out there. They very well might. Are they going to tell you what they are? Probably not. A lot of them like to keep that work separate, because one part of it is pure escapism. They do the writing as a hobby. I think, like I said, psychologically, there's a whole other level involved when you start making something original. But you put a lot more of yourself on the line in that, and also there's a lot of money involved. Similarly, the next time you see an author, don't assume they've never written fanfictions. I think a lot of people first started writing with fanfictions thanks to the rise of the internet. It's become much more of a bigger thing. And you never know. Perhaps that fanfiction author you love already does write original work, just under a different pen name. So that was my stab at answering this Reddit question. Reddit is new to me, relatively speaking, but I'm hoping to keep diving into some more Reddit questions, and maybe together we can answer them and come up with our own takes and have a bit of a discussion. That's it for this video. I have to go now, as I have some sensitivity reading to do, as I continue to write my story. One day at a time.